This is Hindu Speakers Bureau, and we are going to talk about some of the unfortunate incidences, updates in America of Indian students or Hindu students. So Deepak Bajaj will tell more about it. Deepak, welcome, and please share your experiences, including your a brief intro.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dilipji, for the invitation over here to come and speak on this very important topic that is currently going on. A quick intro. I'm from Northern California, a regular software guy by profession. And um, given this unnatural spike in the deaths of Indian students in the US, there was a need to raise awareness about it. So there were a couple of articles that were written by me and shared in the news portals, online news portals over here. But I think there has not been a respite in the continuous deaths of Indian students, which is definitely raising a lot of alarms over here. There is definitely a need to raise awareness, inform people about the scale of this challenge that we have in front of us, and then find some solution that the entire Indian American community can come together, think through that, and put that in practice. What I will do as part of this presentation is provide statistics. Now, these numbers are from the time period of October 2023 going on till April of 2024, so around 7 months, 6 months, and a couple of days, basically. Then we'll deep dive into each case that happened, the reason for the unfortunate death, the circumstances under which the death happened, and the official information from the authorities, as I mentioned, on the cause of the death. I've kept the recommendations open for now. I did not want to put my recommendations right away. I want folks on the call to provide their inputs from their point of view, given their previous experiences. And the intent is to put that all together to document that. And maybe over a period of time, we can refine it and then identify specific ones that we can actually put into action. So that is the intent. It's not supposed to be just a once and done presentation. I'm expecting that we make some concrete recommendations and then follow up on them as a group. Now, the statistics primarily are for students who are either coming from India or they are second generation students over here with parents of Indian origin. The information that I'm providing over here is a compilation of information from different news media, and these are popular news media. So there is an assumption over here that the information provided in the popular news media, at least, is accurate, because the last thing we want to do is provide inaccurate information based on which we come up with certain recommendations, which might not really benefit us in any manner. So these have been taken from NBC, from MSNBC, Boston Globe, and then a couple of news media in India like Hindustan Times, First Post, NDTV, etc. Now, my apologies if any information is missed out or any case has not been mentioned over here. My deepest apologies right in front. That is not the intent. It is what I have been able to glean from different sources of information and then compile it together, because individual news coming out might not jolt us, but then when you put everything together and look at the number and look at some kind of a trend, and then there is some picture that starts coming out, which is important for us to take remediation activities. So that's a quick background on it. So let me start moving through the information that I've compiled. When we start talking about statistics, right? Again, I mentioned this is from October of 2023 to April of this year. There have been 14 deaths in 7 months up till now, 13 of which are students, and I put one executive over here, just given the nature of the vicious attack that happened on him, which we should be aware of as a community. Out of these 14 deaths, 5 of them have been murders. and we can look at them to figure out, are these hate crimes, or are this, something that happened at that point itself, which is not related to hate. These do look like hate crimes, so we can talk about that. One has been a suicide. 5 of them have been accidental. So what I mean by accidental is that either it was due to a gas leak in the apartment, or maybe carbon monoxide poisoning, something like that, which I've categorized as accidental, and we can definitely talk about that. And 3 of them are unknown. The reason why they're unknown is I haven't been able to find any credible information online through any popular or trusted source of information where they have pinpointed the cause of the death. And then in one case that happened just yesterday or day before was Mr. Uma, who died, but the nature of the death has not been provided as yet. So 3 of them are still unknown. Now, if we look at the age range of these youngsters, 3 of them are less than 20 years. 4 of them are between 20 to 25 years of age that died. Another 4 of them are between 26 to 35 years of age, and 2 of them were over 35 years. One of them, as I mentioned, Mr. Uma, is still unknown. It was just mentioned that he had died, and the location was somewhere in Ohio. We don't even know the university as yet that he was affiliated with, or his age, or the cause of his death. But I just wanted to share these statistics to start with. Now, where have these deaths occurred? So if you see this, it shows us all of them are in the east of the US, right? So mid east and towards the East Coast. One of them being in Massachusetts, one of them being, sorry, 2 of them in Connecticut, one of them in Washington, D.C., 3 in Ohio, 4 in Indiana, 1 in Illinois, 1 in Missouri, and then 1 in Georgia. There is no trend as yet, but when you start putting the numbers together, you wonder why a lot of these deaths are in one part of our country. I would be open to suggestion, inputs, etc. later on as to why do we see this kind of trend coming up. Let's take a look at all the unfortunate deaths, and just by looking at these youngsters, it's very hard to imagine what's going on within each of the families, the parents, what they are going through of having lost their children. Many of them have traveled from India, have come to the US for the studies with a lot of hope and aspirations in mind. But unfortunately, a lot of those hopes and aspirations have been dashed completely when these parents have lost their young children. So we have 14 bright minds who are not with us anymore, starting with Varun, age 24, Aditya, age 26, Vivek, at the age of 26, Akul at the age of 18, Gatu Dinesh at the age of 22, Sai Nikesh at 21 years, Neil Acharya, 19 years, Samir Kamath, 23 years, Shreyas at 19 years, Vivek Taneja, as I mentioned, the executive, at 41 years, Amant Gooch, an accomplished dancer, a great person, at the age of 34, Abijit Paruru, 20 years, Wenat Ramana, 27, and Uma, as I mentioned, we're still trying to find out what happened with this youngster, what age, and more details behind it. So just taking a step back, looking at so many young minds not having had the opportunity to fulfill their potential is truly heartbreaking. And I think as a community, we should definitely look at what we can do to reverse this trend. And there can be many reasons behind it, but we need to look at each reason and what we can do as a community. So with that, what I'll do is I'll start going through the details of each of the cases. Now, if there's anything incorrect, again, apologies for that. I've tried my best to collect the right information. But if you have something more that you know about a specific case, please do provide your inputs over here. And in case I missed out any unfortunate death, then please let me know as well. Any student dying anywhere and from our Indian community also is a loss too high to bear.
There was one
Yes.
young girl died due to police car, right? That was, I don't remember where, but
Yes, you're right.
accident.
That was in Seattle. Yeah, he overran her while she was crossing the traffic crossing, and I think what there was some joke about her. He joked about her, the police guy, and
That's
that
right.
became viral. And then later on, there was some investigation. As usual, it was dismissed, saying that she was having some earbuds while crossing the road. She must have not heard the police siren. That kind of conclusion. Yeah, the police guy was let free.
Yeah. Another observation is that there is no woman in this, which I guess is good in some. I thought Uma was a female rather than a male, isn't it?
Yeah, I double checked on that one. It was mentioned Mr. Uma. So I think it is
Okay.
it's a man, it's a male. But yeah, the question is who's next? I was hoping, so when I put the initial report together, this was in February, I was hoping that there would be many more, but just within a month, multiple other additional deaths happened. So the real question is who's next over here and what we can do to stop this downward
Do we have
spiral.
any prior comparison over the last few years? What has been the profile?
No, I have not been able to go through previous records. I think it's an important one to look at. If we just look at from a statistics standpoint, last year has been the biggest year in terms of students from India coming to the US for higher studies. More than 200,000 students have come from India just in 1 year over 2022-2023 school cycle.
Do we
So
know what
definitely
has
the
been the
government-
average in the past by any chance?
No, but it was recorded, and even the US ambassador in India mentioned that last year was the biggest year in terms of number of students coming from India to the US.
I mean,
which
it
makes
seems to me there are just so much volume coming in. As a physician, I see ton of young physicians coming in. Oh my goodness, it's like they have opened up the gates. So there's so many coming in, just the volume has gone up, and many of them are in such a position not being able to afford better places to stay and understanding American dynamics. So I think that is certainly playing a role. Question is, let's go ahead. Let's see more in what you have.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that is where I think we need to figure out what we can do to maybe help some of these youngsters who are coming over. You know, what are the areas that we can definitely look into? Yeah, thanks for that. So Varun, age 24, he passed away in October of last year. He belonged to the Valparaiso University, in Indiana. The cause of his death was murder. He was a computer science student at the university, and he was stabbed in the head by a fellow gym goer, Jordan Andrade, because he found him a little bit weird. So you can understand the kind of challenge that we are up against. And he succumbed to his injuries while going on treatment a couple of days later in October. So that was the first one, Varun. Aditya Adlakha, he was 26 years of age. He passed away in November last year. He was at the University of Cincinnati Medical School in Ohio. The cause of his death was murder. He was pursuing a PhD at the university, and he was shot dead in his car. He succumbed to his injuries 2 days later, after he was discovered with several gunshot wounds inside a vehicle that had slammed into a wall in the Western Hills, which is a neighborhood in Ohio, Cincinnati, on November 9th, 2023. I will read through the information over here so that I just make sure that I'm not misstating any information.
No cause found, in the sense the assailants have not been identified.
I haven't found any information regarding that as yet. Vivek Saini, age 25, he passed away in January 2024. He was with the Alabama University in Georgia. The cause of his death was murder. So Vivek was an MBA student at the university, and he was killed by a homeless person, James Faulkner, when he struck him repeatedly with a hammer inside a store on the 16th of January. And he had struck Vivek nearly 15 times, causing his death. Highly unfortunate, Vivek was the person who was helping that homeless person for many months. And then one day when he refused, that was the reaction that he received from the homeless person. Highly unfortunate. Gatu Dinesh, 22 years of age. He passed away in January of 2024. He was with the University of Sacred Heart in Connecticut. The cause of his death was reported as a gas leak or carbon monoxide poisoning. So Gatu was pursuing a master's degree in computer science at the university, and he was found unresponsive by his local friends when they were visiting his residence in January. And as mentioned, the suspected cause of death was a gas leak or carbon monoxide poisoning. He had a roommate with him, Sai Nikesh Rakoti, who was aged 21. Both the roommates were found unresponsive in the same apartment. Again, the suspected cause of death was a gas leak or carbon monoxide poisoning. Akul Dhawan, 18 years of age, passed away in January. The university that he was studying in was the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in Illinois. The cause of his death was reported as hypothermia. And Akul was an engineering student at the university. He went missing on the 20th of Jan, just before 1:30 a.m. His body was found after 10 hours. The reported cause of his death was hypothermia. He was found on the back porch of a building near the university campus. But Akul's parents are not, they are besides themselves as to how a student within the campus or near the campus can be found when he was reported missing for nearly 10 hours. So his father said that this is bizarre, that the kid is never found, who was just less than a block away. This is like a minute away, sitting there dead, frozen to death. This was Ish Dhawan, his father, who made the statement to one of the news media outlets. The seventh one, Neil Acharya, who passed away at the age of 19. This was in January of this year. The university he was with was Purdue University in Indiana. His cause of death was asphyxia. Now, Neil was pursuing a double major in computer science and data science at the university, and he was found dead at about 11:30 a.m. on the 28th of January after the police were called to investigate an unresponsive body near the labs. This is latest information about the coroner's office that determined that the student's death was asphyxia, which was due to cold exposure and ethanol intoxication as other contributing factors in his death.
So near the lab may mean outside the lab, probably, isn't it?
Outside the lab, yeah, near the labs, yeah, outside the lab. Shreyas, 19 years of age, passed away in February. He was studying at Lindner School of Business in Ohio. The cause of death is unknown. I haven't been able to identify or find any credible source of information as to the cause. The tweet that was sent out was by the Consulate General of India in New York on the 1st of February, where they just mentioned there was no foul play suspected at this stage in the death of Shreyas. Samir Kamath, 23 years of age, he passed away in February. He was studying at the mechanical engineering department at the Purdue University in Indiana. The stated cause of his death was suicide. Samir was a doctoral student in that mechanical engineering department at Purdue University, and he was found dead at the Crows Grove Nature Preserve in the evening around 5 p.m. on the 5th of February. And through the forensic pathologist autopsy, it was indicated that he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to the Warren County coroner. Vivek Taneja, 41 years of age, he passed away in February of this year. He was an IT executive and a co-founder, president of Dynamo Technologies in Washington, D.C. The cause of his death was murder. This happened on the 2nd of February when he was attacked outside a restaurant. He was knocked to the ground. He hit his pavement on the pavement. And this happened after an altercation at the restaurant. After that, he succumbed to his injuries and died on the 7th of February. Amant Gooch, age 34 years, he passed away in February of this year. He was a student at the Performing Arts Department of Washington University, St. Louis, Missouri. The cause of his death was murder. Amarnath was pursuing a Master's of Fine Arts. He was a candidate in the Performing Arts Department in the Arts and Sciences at Washington University in St. Louis. He was killed in the Sherman Park neighborhood of St. Louis on the 27th of February. He was 34 years of age. Amarnath was an accomplished dancer, a vocalist, and a choreographer. Now, they have found one of the 3 suspects who shot and killed Amarnath. They have charged 46-year-old Glenn Bailey with first-degree murder. There were 3 individuals involved. He was shot by 3 people from 3 different handguns that led to the death of Amarnath. And this was when he was out for jogging. Abijit Paruru, 20 years of age, passed away last month. He was with the Boston University in Massachusetts. The cause of his death is unknown, and there is a reason why I've said it's unknown. Abijit, 20 years of age, was found dead in the US with his family, alleging that he was murdered. And that's the reason why I've put this as unknown. The authorities believe it's suicide, but they are waiting to hear from the medical examiner. But the parents are not believing that version that is being provided by the authorities out there. Abijit was an engineering student. Both his parents are based in Connecticut. According to his family, he was murdered by unidentified persons on the university campus itself, and they left his body in a car in a forest. That's their version. More is to be figured out what exactly happened. Wenat Ramana, 27 years of age, passed away last month. He was with the Indiana University Purdue in Indianapolis. This was an accidental cause of death. Wenat Ramana was riding a jet ski in Florida. He was pursuing a master's degree in health informatics in Indianapolis. And this was when he was out with his friend. The incident involved a 17-year-old operating a personal watercraft, colliding with Wenat Ramana, driving over him and killing him. And this incident happened at the water park area of Fury Water Sports in Florida. So highly unfortunate accident that took place due to negligence from the other person. And the last one that we know of is Mr. Satya Sai. We don't know his age as yet. This happened in April, I think a couple of days back. The location mentioned was Ohio. We don't have much information other than that as of now. This was the tweet that was sent out by the Indian consulate in New York, where they mentioned that they are deeply saddened by the unfortunate demise of Mr. Satya Sai, Indian student in Cleveland, Ohio. Police investigation is currently underway, and the consulate continues to remain in touch with the family in India. All possible assistance is being extended, including to transport Mr. Gadde's mortal remains to India at the earliest. So these are the 14 unfortunate deaths that have taken place. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't put in any recommendations as yet coming from me, and the reason was to open it up to everybody on the call to get your inputs. Of course, we will refine, tweak it over a period of time, but to start getting initial feedback responses from everybody on the call.
So one question is, it seems 2 out of these 14 are Indian Americans, that their parents are in US, whereas rest of them are from India. Is that correct?
Yes, that is what it looks like, yes.
But I mean, one of the basic thinking here would be, is it a directed killing or is it a random occurrences? And the way it seems to me, it seems to be fairly random occurrence, the way I see it. It is not, it probably doesn't look like a community basis that some community is targeting and so on and so forth. The large number of immigrants coming in, younger people who have no understanding of what the West involves, what is the living here, carbon monoxide, people here, even homeless people here, and so on and so forth. I think that could certainly contribute to people being lost just because of the either carelessness or utterly not knowing what to do and how to handle, and also not having resources how to handle, not having enough support how to handle, and so on and so forth. I mean, majority could be explained. Some undergoing depression and anxiety and suicidal attempts is always possible. Those are, I think, I'm sure, some playing role. And some are a random occurrence, like the altercation with the guy where, he probably could have behaved in a different way and so on and so forth. So you wonder if these are playing a role. Are we really suspecting some, targeted killing here at all? Is that a consideration?
Another question, Deepak Bhai, is that what led Indra Nui to talk about the drug abuse? There is maybe one possible case here is a drug abuse based thing, right?
Alcohol is there, it seems, but not the much of the drugs, the way I see it.
But Indra Nui concentrated in her message on drug abuse and alcohol abuse, right?
Well, drug abuse could indirectly play a role, because if somebody is doing drugs, then the guy who is selling and he couldn't pay the money, that could definitely contribute to the targeted killing in such situations. So if it is there, we probably may not know, but deeper investigation, but it certainly should be discouraged and actively discouraged, because then you expose yourself to the people who can kill for even a smaller amount.
Deepak Bhai, you're...
Yeah. No, I do agree with with the sentiments as well over here.
Deepak, your voice is rather low. If you wish to come nearer. Sorry
I'm
there.
so sorry. Is this any better?
Yes, just come nearer. I maybe a little, but I could hear the others very well. So it seems on your side too.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
A lot better.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Just the nature of this particular topic is a bit concerning. So I do agree with the sentiments that youngsters have to be vigilant and not be taken in with what they see around them. I'm hoping that the incidence of alcohol abuse or drug abuse is lesser. And again, this might be a matter of statistics that we might have to go through and take a look at, compared to the number of percentage of students who are coming from India, where they know that their parents, etc., are taking loans in many cases, and a lot of responsibilities on their shoulders when they come to the US, with a concentrated aim of ensuring that they have good post-graduation education to make it good in their lives. I'm hoping again that incidence of drug abuse or alcoholism is lower as a percentage for students coming from India. This is again a matter of statistics, but yes, I think everything that can be done, and it's really great by Mrs. Indra Nui to have mentioned that when people are looking up to her, and they will take her words and try and mend if there is any kind of this thing going on, right? So I think it's a collective responsibility of everybody over here as well to go out with that recommendation, those guidelines, those advice to the youngsters who are coming from India.
Yeah. Another observation is that is it possible that the police investigation is at a much lower intensity for outsiders, for foreigners, rather than for the local people? Is it possible? Is that?
It depends on the resources that the local authorities have at their disposal. And this is not only specific to our country over here, right? It can happen anywhere in the world, depending on what the situation is, how many police personnel do they have at their disposal, depending on the city in which they are monitoring. Can they set aside resources for these kinds of things? I'm hoping it is not the case where just because the person is not an American citizen, that they would be doing less of a work. I would believe that it should be the opposite, that they have a much bigger responsibility, given that, you know, people globally are coming to the US for further education. They have to make sure that they are protecting these youngsters from any kind of either self-harm or harm coming from outside, so that they can get the right level of education. And in nearly every case, after they are done with their graduation, they stay back in the US and they become US citizens, and they contribute to the economy and the growth of the country. So I think it is even more important for these local authorities to ensure that they are taking good care of the students who are coming globally to the US, including mental well-being or their physical security, depending on in which campus they are, either within the campus or outside the campus.
Nirupama, go ahead, please.
Namaste, everybody. I'm so sorry I've been joining in and out. My name is Nirupama Chebiam. Thank you so much, Dilip ji and Deepak ji, for hosting this much needed Zoom session. In fact, as I always constantly speak about Nari Shakti, probably I'm representing all the Nari Shakti's group here to raise concern, alarming concern, because just not as an Nari Shakti, but as a mom whose kids are in college, and one more kid is going into college. This is a very deeply disturbing subject that we are talking about, because just in a span of a couple of weeks, there are so many students who have died under mysterious circumstances. I'm trying to reiterate saying that this is mysterious circumstances because all of a sudden we have seen a upsurge in the deaths of Indian students. Drug infiltration is a very huge issue at this point of time. There are kids who are talking about drug infiltration, just not from middle school, from elementary school itself. Kids know that, okay, there are drugs that are easily available in school campuses. And very recently, we lost a student from our community to drug abuse. And it's a very sad incident that moved me very deeply, followed by the deaths of all the other students. So let's not rule out any foul play in this. It's very important for us to raise alarm about this, whether to the lawmakers or to the university campuses. First of all, like the way Deepak ji said, we have so many students flowing into university campuses from various parts of Bharat. And these students are unaware about any kind of, dangers that are there around the campuses. So first of all, we need somebody, a counselor or a person to reach on these student campuses for Indian students. Number one. Number two is that we need some kind of coaching classes for these kids, telling these are the things that's happening on the campus, and at least let all these students know about so many deaths that's happening. Right? And we all as community leaders, of the Hindu community, I think we all need to come together and at least start reaching out to our local lawmakers and university, admins or whoever it is, to let them know that we are deeply concerned about what is happening. So I truly appreciate, let's not rule out saying that these are just casual deaths or just happening, for whatever reasons. Reasons can be given. But I think it's also important for us to ask the law enforcement to probe, proper investigation into these cases. I feel very, very bad to see these parents from Bharat, father or mother coming here to receive the dead bodies of their kids. Just imagine what they must be going through. So I humble request to every parent here that let's not take this as a very easy thing that's just happening on a normal space, but it is definitely a concern, especially the kind of Hindu attack that is happening on us. So I just wanted to share this.
Can we make a directed by bullet point that these are our suggestions for us and for the others to request, so that we can shorten the time and make it a directed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we are going to do about it. So that way we can have a constructive output in the whole situation.
I'd request that.
Absolutely.
Kishoreji, you suggested some of those things you initiated. Can you summarize
Yes.
what you have?
So my belief is that if the students are provided some local support, then things may be a lot better in whether information or just feeling that somebody to talk to. So there are three different ways. One is there is a notion of chaplain, Hindu chaplain at several universities. And we should try to encourage this notion of chaplain at the universities that don't have them. And in this, we can take support from Gaurav Bhai, for example. His institute trains chaplains. Now, the second is the local temples would provide weekly or once a month meals to the students, so they have somebody to fall back on. The third is the host family program. Yeah, I'll let you type in.
Oh, sorry. Am I making the
That's
noise?
fine.
I was just making the points.
Yeah, good. So we have started this, for example, ISKCON. ISKCON will be the easiest temple to approach for this. ISKCON is already started the meal program at Duke. And together with the meal, they actually also give a discourse. So that is building up. And I also want to do the Hindu Society of North Carolina supplying meals. Then the third idea is what is called host family. Now, host family program has existed in most universities, even from the time when I was a graduate student. But the host families are normally supplied by the churches. And what I want to suggest is that we should involve the temples in supplying the host families. And we are currently starting the discussion with the right person in the administration at Duke, so that we can have a host family program started here at Duke. So we'll give them a list of potential Hindu American host families, and they will then match up with newly arriving Indian students. This will be primarily for the students coming from Bharat. Because there's no way for them to identify students who are Hindu. So this will be Indian students in some sense. So I'll update you on as and when we progress with that idea. And so this can be done in all the universities, host family program, local temples providing meals, and chaplain may be a little harder, but Hindu chaplain is a local advisor, local mom, if you like. Most students want a mom on campus in some sense. So we have a very successful chaplain program since 2011 or so at Duke. And there are probably, last I knew, only 12 universities with Hindu chaplains. Gaurav Bhai might be able to update us on it, maybe larger now.
One more, Kishoreji, thank you so much. Sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing. I'm just rushing out. Can there be a liaison between, the parents who come from Bharat, especially when, they've lost their child here? Can there be a liaison between the parent and somebody here who can help them understand the process, whether if they want to see an attorney or they want to meet the law enforcement or a lawmaker? Is there something like that that we can also arrange?
Yeah, that's an excellent idea.
Because they're clueless. The parents are truly clueless when they come here. First of all, they're in a state of shock. Next is they don't even understand the law of this land. Second thing is, who are the people that they can reach out to so we all can come together as a community and give them the directions and help support them during these trivial times?
So again, I would say that the Hindu chaplain that is at a university, and there is a I don't know what they call it, association of all chaplains. So that can be a nodal point.
Okay.
So, but one thing, in this case, if parents want to come here and trying to check out the local contacts for law and all, is this not the job of the Indian consulates here to guide the
That's
parents?
a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
I think Indian consulate did make some noise recently. I saw some media. So no, I agree. Indian consulate should be one of the persons who
Guidance,
should be pressuring the local authority to act more on it. Monaji,
Thank you, Dilipji. I'm just going to quickly speak because there's noise and background noise. But I wanted to just suggest that we already have on many campuses Hindu Student Union. And I was thinking that that should be more active because I'm thinking of myself as a college student or my children. They would not reach out to anybody older as such or, go to somewhere. The chaplain can be the person who they come to second. The first thing would be a person who's their age. Somebody who's more of a peer that they could talk to more comfortably, and then we could go to somebody who's more mature and more knowledgeable about things and who could advise them. But the Hindu Student Union, we should really activate on campuses, and there we could have people, for example, when a student comes in from India, they have a brother or a sister who will then be always watching out for them because they are already familiar with the environment, and they can then be like I said, a brother or a sister. So that way there is immediate contact because they feel alienated when they come here. And you have children who are, born here and children from India. That connect is not there. And so if you can have people here on the campuses in the Hindu Student Union who then take somebody under their wing, and then they are watching out for them. They have their backs. So that I thought would be one thing. Because I absolutely share the lady who came from Nari Shakti, that as a mother, I just share their pain. Yes, Pankaj.
May I take a moment, Dilipji?
sure, please.
So, such a large number of students are coming up from overseas that in addition to local situations, if we have a way to reach out the students, I do not know if very nice short videos have been prepared for the Indian students coming in to quickly get an understanding of what they are going through. So if we have not, I don't know what Indra Nui spoke about. I think she may spoke about, I don't know how much she touched, but I think a concentrated video showing in 10, 20 minutes what exactly they could do stepwise, making them aware of the problems, the reasons for the deaths that had happened, so that they are aware. And if this can be disseminated on a larger scale through a variety of sources, I think would be very worthwhile. When this happened, I have a group of Indian students, physicians, all who are trying to come to India and who are already come here and they are already here. So that group I wrote, if I can share the screen, I can quickly tell a one-page suggestions to them what they can do. So something like that we can do in the discussion itself. That this is, let me put my screen if that's okay with you. So this is, I quickly did at that time, this document. So all youngsters who have moved from India, we strongly suggest keep in mind the following points. So there were 10 points given, we can discuss out at that time, similar and add more, whichever, and these are all standard points that avoid living in the area where there is a known safety concern. One way is to speak to the local Indian living in the town, and it is worth spending a little more when needed, and you rather save on rather spending on alcohol, etc. Paying guests in good areas may be the best options for them. If you notice, all these are males. There's no female. So that means that's what is playing a role there, where the boys take an extra and they go, they think that they are all right and blah, blah, blah. Avoid being out, especially walking in the deserted area, and so on and so forth. There are several points. I don't want to bore you people with that. But I think something like that done in a video format. Now, we may, if we have a connection with the consulate, that anybody coming to US may be given this link, that if there is a way to provide them that this is your material for your safety, we may be able to create that possibility. Just a simple link to your website with suggestions or somewhere where is safety for Indian, we can create a, safety for Indian students website itself where this YouTube video and couple of pointers making it simple is there given. Or even an address of some resources national-wide. These are the temples available in different places, how they can reach, whom to reach, and so on and so forth. So something of this set at a much larger scale, while the local things what Kishore has suggested, obviously, each one of the, but I mean, our reach in the temple is very limited, unfortunately. We can involve Hindu Mandir Executive Council to see if they can send out something, emails, and so on and so forth. But I think reaching the students directly at some stage, the people who are immigrating, making them aware of the problems is probably the way to work on this.
I'd like to add 2 points in addition to everything what everybody said. And one is it was said that this police may be overworked and they may have so many things going on. They may have a limited budget. But the same token, whatever time they have, if there is a pressure from Indian government, if there is a pressure from, if we reach out Indian community in America, and if Congress, some Congress members, they make a noise about it, local police will spend more time for this cause rather, so that's one suggestion. The other suggestion is we should not rule out Hindu phobia, because some of the cases like Varun's, Aditya's, Vivek Amarnath's case and all that, or some of this, you never know that the other party may be, he may have been targeted because it's some foreigners, maybe Hindu or, so that's not something we should rule it out. Just keep that in mind. Yeah.
For that, another thing for foreigners rather than Hindu phobia, foreigner situation, I would like to know if there is any study of, say, Arabic skill during this time, or people from other communities. I mean, a lot of Ukrainians have come here. So Ukrainians are considered in quotes white, so it would be different ballgame. But is there any of that statistics? How was the number killed during this time and so on and so forth, or in general, what's happening there? So that way we could get a feel about it. But we don't want to stretch it also into a quotes Hindu phobia, and it is a concern when there is really not a strong ground even on what looks initially on what we are looking at it. So, I mean, crying wolf may not help there when it is not do we have a really strong ground here to even suspect that, the way I see those deaths there?
We should keep that option open. That's what I'm saying.
Understand.
Going back to Monaji's point about the Hindu students, there are not too many Hindu student associations. There are India student associations or South Asian student associations. And reach through them is harder for the temples, etc. Hindu student association is easier. But anyway, yes, we need to have more Hindu student associations on campuses.
I think even just the Indian students, because yes, we want the focus also on the Hindus, but I think even having that connect.
And also,
in fact, I was just suggesting that as Dilipji was saying.
Has anybody come across a video of that nature, what I'm suggesting? That very nice, good summarized video which can be passed on to the students in general?
Pankajji, 1 second. Let me finish my point. Just 1 second. So Dilipji, you had suggested that we have more, involvement from other bigger groups. I was thinking that, HAF and all these people should put some pressure on the police so that they can, in fact, we have so many Indian associations also. All these people need to be sort of coming together and sort of focusing on this whole issue, because just these small few voices won't really help. I think the big institutions, organizations, they need to take this as a thing. Go ahead, Pankajji. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I agree with Pankajji's point. That's a good point too. If we can have a video prepared that can be passed on to the.
Has anybody come across such material that people we can pass it on to the, to the different social media, that this is the suggestion, a concise short video? Has anybody come across that?
Closest thing is what Indira Nui has prepared, right?
Was it quite
That
in
doesn't
sort of
capture
a,
all that. No, it only
it
captures.
was not enough. I mean, I
I
can
think
share you with the group who is inclined. Dilipji, I will email you out what I had written out. I can put it here if you wish me to again. But those points, and we can add some more points to it and get it ready. And then we can create. It's not very hard thing. I mean, to create 5 minutes, 10 minutes of video, I don't think it's a rocket science there for all that matters. Do we want to go through? I would like the inputs of all of you, and we can create it, and then we can circulate that even more.
I think the idea is great, Pankajji. The only thing is we have to have somebody who is taking the initiative to show them. Meaning, who is the party
Well,
that is
so
going to always take that
number one,
responsibility?
social media are there. Number two, if we have a reach into, say, TVs in India, that, hey, this is what we have made, would you like to show it? Who knows it? They may get inclined. I mean, at a higher level, through the consulate, if you can give a website that is there, I don't know if that would work. So, I mean, I guess if we are going to do at a larger scale, we don't have a choice. I mean, limiting to 1 or 2 temples is not going to make a big difference.
Pankajji, I agree. And also, let's try it. Let's prepare it. Maybe.
Yeah, give it to USIS, USIS through
I
that
was
we
just
could
thinking about that.
a lot of students.
UCIS, I went to UCIS when I first, before coming to US.
What is USIS?
United
That
States
is-
Information Service.
Immigration Services.
No, Information Service.
Information.
I got you.
Information.
I see.
I visited them in 1970 before coming to US. So
Yeah,
If
we
the
all did
video
that.
is useful, you'll be surprised how quickly it will move. Nowadays, social media, good God, I mean, what it cannot do, I just can't imagine. If it's a well done, if we want, we can request even Indra Nooyi to come on that one. Who knows it? That might spread. If any one big name is there, one of the Bollywood guys there, then it will move the things much faster. We just need somebody's help there. You and me may not be known, but there are people who are known, and if they come even for a minute, that, hey, Hrithik Roshan says this, or this guy, who knows it? It might work.
Okay, back to Deepak ji. Do you have any summary before we close it? Or if you have, I think you make some points on your computer, maybe if you want to share and summarize.
Yes. So this is what, and really thank you everybody for providing your inputs. They are highly valuable inputs, and I think we can definitely pick up many of them, if not all. Right. So just to wrap it up, we talked about local support coming from trained Hindu chaplains. We talked about local temples providing support, including meals. An example of ISKCON was provided. We also talked about the host family, which I think is good, which currently exists in universities, but we might need to involve temples to provide this for students coming from India. We talked about legal support that would need to be provided to Indian parents of deceased students over here. We talked about the need for having a Hindu or Indian student union on campus, because students are much more inclined to be speaking with folks their own age. We talked about media, we're creating short videos to help new students from India to acclimatize. This can be provided to the Indian consulate or to other avenues for better dissemination across the board. We talked about better local engagement with the authorities before and after any of this incident takes place, and using the help of some established organizations like HAF. And we also talked about raising awareness against Hinduphobia. So these were all the points that were raised. And then what we can do is maybe over a period of time, hone in on a couple of them and see specifically which ones we can pick up for actioning moving forward.
I think it's a great summary. Thank you. Should we continue the discussion, or we can
Would
just turn
Kona-
the recording off and then continue?
Would Kona have the list of all the student unions nationwide? They might have that list, that can be a link can be put on our whatever we create, that this is the website. And so somebody coming to Purdue would know immediately how to contact the local student organization. Maybe that may be another way to provide such a list. But yes, we can probably go offline if we are done.
Okay, I'm making it offline. We can continue discussion. So thank you all. This is Hindu Speakers Bureau, and Deepak ji, thank you for your hard work and all your publications. So give him a good hand.
A good task there. Deepak ji,
Thank
well
you,
done.
Deepak ji. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And let's
well done.
follow up, like Pankaj say, maybe we make video or take some steps, and we'll discuss later on. So thank you very much all. I'm stopping the recording.